Anyone who expected a big narrative of a bloody final battle or a major endgame, you will surely be disappointed by the Shogun finale. Nothing really happens in the episode except for a few things like Yabushige's seppuku and the fate of John's ship, but there's a deeper meaning behind everything that we saw on screen, which proves why the Shogun finale was perfect. Let's talk about it. First of all, the episode opens with an elderly John Blackthorne who is on his sick bed about to die. In the household, you can see various souvenirs he brought from his time in the Japans, his sword, his helmet, as well as Mariko's cross necklace. And then there are little English boys who turn out to be his grandsons.
Was it really given to you by a savage?
They talk about how their grandfather fought with a whole army of Japanese assassins with his sword, which means the fight before Mariko's death was John's final battle. All of this means that when he was knocked out during the blast, he was dreaming of returning home, bringing souvenirs with him, reuniting with his wife and children who would give him grandchildren. But even on his deathbed, he would be agonizing over Mariko's death. Throughout the episode, he returns to this dream a few times, and each time it becomes less clear and more far away. With his ship sunk and Mariko's cross dropped at the sea, he understands that his dream is impossible to achieve. He has to let go of that dream of a dream. If there's anyone who didn't understand that sequence was a dream, the existence of Mariko's cross necklace should be an evidence. John dropped it into the sea in reality, so it appearing John's hands on his deathbed would not be possible. And Toranaga did say John's fate is to never leave Japan, and he was right. The real John Blackthorne, William Adams, also stayed in Japan until he died. In fact, he was given permission to leave for his home country later, but he chose not to. Perhaps he believed in this fate too. Who knows? In the scene with Fuji too, the showrunners portrayed a beautiful story full of meanings. John convinced Fuji to go on the boat with him, and she dropped the ashes of her husband and son in the water, even though remember earlier, she had a hard time departing with them. The same goes for John. He was having difficulty letting go of Mariko's cross. Even in his deathbed, he was holding on to it. But they both dropped souvenirs of their past loves, and this was where his dreams ended. To be honest, that scene on the boat, along with Yabushige's final talk with Toranaga, were the best scenes of the entire episode, if not the entire season. The fact that Fuji referred back to what Mariko had told her in episode 1 was right on point and quite emotional. If you remember, when the guards were going to take Fuji's son, Mariko said something along the lines of, "Let her hands be the last to hold her son." And when John was about to drop Mariko's cross into the water, Fuji said, "Let your hands be the last that hold her." It was incredible. Fuji's overall storyline was truly satisfactory in my opinion. Her choosing life over death was the best case scenario that could have happened. I mean, I did want her to be with John, but I understand that it wouldn't really make sense. I'm just glad that she gave up on dying and believed that humans must accept death and let go of those who died and move forward. And the same happened for John as well. He was ready to die, fully accepting the Japanese idea of death. It was really interesting how Fuji ended up believing in a sort of westernized idea of honorable death, seemingly meaningless, just like her husband and son's death. And John embraced the Japanese idea of death being of great import. Seeing the people arriving at these mindsets with their individual journeys and finding solace in each other's company, even for a few minutes, is peak television if you ask me. Nothing better than watching human connection, especially two humans who are different than each other as any two humans could be. Just wow. And then there's this whole incredible sequence with Yabushige and Toranaga, with the latter talking about his plans for peaceful Japan. As Yabushige said, this scene really did reveal what was in Toranaga's secret heart. He did want to become shogun. It was his dream of a dream. But we also learned that he only spared John's life over and over because he entertains him, not because John was important or that he saw any potential in him. He was the one who destroyed John's ship, and he was the one terrorizing the village only to test John's loyalty. All of this showed that Toranaga was also a ruthless human who acts selfishly, sometimes even for his own amusement, rather than a greater purpose. He isn't this perfect guy who wants to achieve peace all over Japan. He's a faulty human being with a power-hungry goal. And the ending with everyone banding together to bring Erasmus out of the sea, and the fact that Buntaro joined in indicated that they were all one and the same. Fucked up human beings struggling together. There's something so poetic in that. I have to admit, I also loved that Crimson Sky, something most of us anticipated to be a full blown out war, just ended up involving a woman who was sent to change Lady Ochiba's mind and help release the hostages, which would win Toranaga the war. Crimson Sky was Mariko's death, and it was also Yabushige's betrayal and John leaving with him. It was Hiromatsu's self-sacrifice and Ochiba's past relationship with Mariko, and it was Nagakaro's stupid death. The plan wouldn't be successful without one of these components, and it was perfect. I want to dedicate the final section of this video to Yabushige, the greatest character on this show. You can fight me in the comments, I don't care. Every scene that he was in, I couldn't look at anywhere else. There was something so captivating about his performance, his facial expressions, his list of the worst ways to die, his will, which was rewritten a few times throughout the show, him changing sides over and over. Everything about him and his reactions were just so relatable. If I was in his place, I would do anything not to get killed either. It's easy to speak about honor when your ass isn't on the line. Moreover, think about it. Throughout the series, he wanted to be a part of the bigger plan. He wanted to learn about Toranaga's plan, but he only did when it didn't matter anymore. Talk about poetry. Overall, I felt like Shogun did a great job of bringing the stories of these different people together and laying out the story of how Toranaga's shogunate came to be. The shogunate wouldn't be possible without any of them, and this show wouldn't be as good without these wonderful actors' performances. I thank them for their incredible work, and thank you for watching. See you soon.